The coalition government has everything to lose and nothing to gain by sending out a perception that it doesn't care about workers. Now, that is a perception. I'm sure it cares about workers, but that's politics. That's what the narrative would be portrayed as. Now, we know they do, and the fact that they implemented the extraordinarily generous JobKeeper and JobSeeker programs during the pandemic is testament to the fact that the Morrison government handled the pandemic well and, of course, looked after people. But the Labor Party and the unions are joined at the hip. Never let it be said that they are not, and they will try to portray a narrative that Morrison and Christian Porter are dudding workers. That's the reality. Perception is everything in politics, and we know that if an issue hits somebody's hip pocket, cue retiree tax in 2019, remember? Will change votes if it hits someone's hip pocket. So let's be clear about this. This particular stoush, this particular issue, is Labor's Hail Mary going into the next election. It's their one and only hope to snatch a win at the next poll. And it's also somewhat ironic, I would suggest. My submission, Your Honour, would be that Labor would now try to portray itself as the party of the worker. After turning its back on coal, turning its back on coal miners, turning its back on anything to do with blue-collar workers, with its radical renewables ideology that, of course, has been hijacked by the left faction of the Labor Party. But here's the thing. The reality is that Morrison needs to be really careful about this. He's so far in front in the polls, it's daylight second. We've seen what's happened in state and territory elections. The incumbents are winning, and winning handsomely, because they protected us, during the pandemic. But we saw what happened to John Howard with work choices. And Anthony Albanese will try to pitch the same tune to voters. Now, if I were Morrison, I'd park it. I'd just park this. I'd say to Porter, just get this off the agenda, get it off the front page. He doesn't need these distractions right now. And as much as this is an issue that will help reform industrial relations in this country, politics is all about winning. And risking the election over one issue is not worth it. Mark my words, this is Labor's only hope, and they will milk it for all it's worth. I just put it in the too hard basket. If working people think the coalition has abandoned them, and that's what Labor will argue, it will end in tears for Morrison.